Someone tells you something, and it actually checks out. But in the moment, how would you have known? You believed them before you had any proof. Most of the time, you just do. Last episode, we gave you 5 ways to actually catch a lie. Here's the flip side. What does the truth actually sound like before you've had time to check it? Turns out there's a reason this feels hard by default. Psychologist Timothy Levine's research found we're wired to just believe people unless something actively trips an alarm, partly because most of what people tell us really is true. That default is usually right. But when it actually matters, here are 5 things that give it away for real, and the one popular myth that gets it backwards. Technique 1. Ask for something that could actually be checked. Researchers Galit Nahari, Aldert Vrij, and Ronald Fisher found that liars face a real dilemma. They want to sound convincing, which pushes them to add detail, but they also want to avoid getting caught, which pushes them to avoid anything you could actually verify. Ask a simple follow-up. Who else was there? Exactly where? And a truthful person hands you something checkable without flinching. A liar tends to stay vague right where it would matter most. Technique 2. Listen for a straight answer, not a dodge. Researchers studying repeated interviews found that guilty, deceptive answers were far more evasive than truthful ones, dodging the actual question, redirecting, giving a non-answer. Just counting evasive answers alone correctly sorted truth from lies close to 9 times out of 10. And regular people spotted it intuitively too, without any training. Ask something direct. Notice if it actually gets answered. Technique 3. Real stories come with small, unhelpful complications. A real account of something that actually happened usually includes a little hitch that didn't need to be there, a delay, an interruption, something that went slightly wrong and added nothing to the story. Researchers analyzing real statements found this detail, complications with no upside, shows up reliably more in truthful accounts than fabricated ones, because a made-up story tends to come out suspiciously smooth. Technique 4. They replay the actual conversation, not a summary of it. Genuine memory often surfaces specific remembered dialogue, and she said, "Wait, are you sure?" And I said, instead of a flattened paraphrase like, "She seems surprised." A fabricated account usually stays at that vague summary level because there's no specific exchange to actually pull from. Technique 5. A little self-correction and an honest, "I don't remember that part." This is the smallest, weakest signal of the 5, so treat it that way. But researchers found truthful accounts include slightly more spontaneous self-corrections and comfortable admissions of a memory gap than fabricated ones. To be clear, that's not the same as Technique 2's dodge. This is someone still answering the real question, just being honest that one small side detail didn't stick. A story that's rehearsed tends to come out polished, with no gaps or slip-ups at all. Now here's the popular belief that actually gets it backwards. That if someone's story changes even a little the next time you ask, that's the red flag. Researchers comparing the same account given twice found liars' stories were actually slightly more consistent the second time, because a rehearsed story gets repeated close to word for word. Truth tellers naturally added new, previously unmentioned details on the retelling because they were genuinely remembering, not reciting. The account that's identical every single time might be the more rehearsed one. A story that grows a few small, plausible new details is what real memory actually looks like. So here's what actually works. Ask for something checkable, listen for a straight answer instead of a dodge, notice the small, pointless complications, listen for actual replayed conversation, and don't punish a little honest self-correction. And don't assume a story that's evolved a little is the lie. The too perfect, unchanging one might be. Which one of these are you actually going to listen for next time you need to know if someone's telling you the truth? If this helped, follow Own the Room for more of this.